So, something I want to talk about is why do companies go and retcon their properties? But first, let's establish what a retcon is. Retroactive continuity, or retcon, is where the writer basically changes established facts within the setting. Now, retcons are not inherently a bad thing, because retcons can be used to remove stuff from stories that were inherently problematic or inherently disliked. But retcons are essentially saying, this is what actually happened, not that. Or, this is how this character has always been, not this. What do you mean there was a time Superman adopted Jimmy Olsen and treated him like shit? That never happened! Now, let's take this into the realm that I actually have deep knowledge of, Warhammer 40k. Does 40k have tons of retcons? Oh, fuck yes it does! The Tyranids used to not be a hive mind species. You mean to tell me there isn't retcons? The Emperor used to be alive in 1st edition, and then sometime later they decided to put him on a fucking chair. Ferrus Manus went from being alive in 4th edition to being a head joke in 5th edition. But there is something that I want to make very clear what is not a retcon. Expanding the information on a faction is not inherently a retcon. If I expand on how a sub-faction works within Warhammer 40k, that is not changing their story, that is adding onto their story. Just like in Dragon Ball, it is not a retcon to say that Goku was an alien. He was always a weirdly powerful individual, and him being from space, that's expanding on why he's like that. Okay, but why would 40k need to retcon itself? Well, this just comes with the double-edged sword of how GW basically went about creating the 40k universe. And this remains true today. Everything is true and everything is false. I know it's really hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around because when you're reading a book, you want to be told the truth on how the universe works. And understanding that a lot of characters in the Warhammer universe have a very biased, very indoctrinated perspective on the universe, and that can be very hard to wrap one's head around. Especially since that a lot of the writers for GW have to go out of their way to correct a lot of stuff from way back in the day. Or figure out how to make stuff from all the way back to 1st edition work with modern 40k. They brought back an Eldar character who was half Eldar, half human for the Ultramarines, and made him a full-on Eldar Farseer that is a part of Roboute Guilliman's personal council representing Eldrad Ulthran. That's a retcon. But expanding the story on all the different factions in 40k, most of the time, those aren't retcons. Remember, a retcon is changing established information, not expanding upon it.